What?
I said I wasn't at home when Professor Calamitous' invading toy army took over my house to use the energy coming from the ghost portal. And now it's surrounded by big tin robots that look like Sam and me.
That's what I thought you said. We have to stop Calamitous stealing any more ghost energy. You and Sam need to meet me at the Amity Park Evil Toy Co. outlet, pronto.
What are you gonna do?
Don't worry, I have a plan. See you there.
Let's see how giant toy robots deal with some competition.
It's evil toy butt-kicking time. Now, who wants to go first?
Hi, welcome to the Mech sections. They're on the back of the case. It says on the back of the case this game lets you pilot a mech. And when I saw that on the back of the case when I first bought this game, I had no opinion on that at all. And see, here's the problem is now that I've played and completed the game 3 times and 100%ed it twice, I still don't have an opinion on the mech segments. I can tell you what they are. They're dual joystick shooter sections where you shoot goo instead of bullets. And none of the bullet patterns are too hard and you can take a whole lot of hits. I don't think I've ever died in these sections once. And there's really no point in talking about the enemy types or anything like that because they're not a threat. I mean, maybe dodging these bullets would be hard for someone, but I don't think it's very hard at all. So, I think the reason these sections are here is because Blue Tongue felt compelled to add an extra gameplay element. Because they didn't think the 3D platforming was enough or something. And they needed a way to include the Toybots based on the Nicktoons. Because these top-down shooter sections are the only times you fight the Toybots shaped like the Nicktoons heroes. Like, the Danny bot, and the Sam bot, and the Jimmy bot. I know, you know, I don't hate them or anything. I don't hate these sections, they're okay. But they don't really do anything special. The game design doesn't do anything worth remembering. You could remove these sections from the game and I really wouldn't notice. There's only 2 of these sections in the whole game too, which just makes them seem kind of weird. Because, like on the back of the case, it makes it sound like it's an important part of the game or something, but you only do this twice. And both times it's just this, the whole time. Something nice I can say about these sections though is that the mech designs are really cute. I like the mech designs for every character. I think they're absolutely adorable and they fit perfectly. But yeah, this is the whole thing. You do this for about 8 to 10 minutes and that's it. And it tries really hard to do some cute stuff that other top-down shooters do. Like have a boss chasing you and you know, it's just, I don't know, none of it really stands out. It's also an incredibly stark contrast to the 3D platforming, because the platforming sections in this game are so difficult that not only will most kids never finish the game, but I don't think most adults will finish the game either. I don't think most kids even made it to this mech section, which is ironic, because the mech sections are the easiest part of the game. This is like baby stuff compared to the 3D platforming. Like, I'm pretty sure any kid could do this with a little bit of practice. They may not even need to practice. But hey, if you made the whole game this inoffensive and kind of boring, then you'd have my exact feelings on Battle for Volcano Island. I don't hate it. I just really can't be bothered to muster an opinion on it, because there's nothing there for me to talk about or appreciate. It's just there. I mean, to Battle for Volcano Island's credit, the final section's really cool. But I think not being able to move around in areas that are recognizable and having no challenging platforming and having really brain-dead button-mashing combat, I think that might be what made it so hard for me to form a strong opinion. I think that might have been what did it. Like, I like Globs of Doom better than Battle for Volcano Island for reasons that we'll get to when we get to that game. But I would never say it's better than Battle for Volcano Island, because that's probably objectively false. But there's stuff in Globs of Doom that lets me form positive and negative opinions on it. That's just not a thing I can do with this, or or Battle for Volcano Island. I can talk about how I can't form opinions on it and why I can't do that, though. That's something I can do. And we're already halfway through the level, so that's just gotta think of 4 more minutes worth of stuff to say, and then we're good. Okay, so after that little cut, it's boss time. We gotta run away from the Jimmy Tank, and then we gotta fight it. And then the level will end. The fight against the Jimmy Tank goes really, really fast. Super fast, so there's not a lot to say. I do want to ask why, though? Why a Jimmy Tank? What does Jimmy's head being on the tank add to the tank? I'm not sure Professor Calamitous thought his plan out super good, because Jimmy's head doesn't really add anything to the tank's tankness, does it? Does it make it more durable or something? Because it's still just a tank, right? Right?
Giant evil toy Jimmy Head, you are down and out! Clean up in aisle 7!
Hey, check out the other evil toys.
They're shutting down!
I'd call it giving up.
We can use the toy store portal to get back into the factory.
And shut it all down! Come on, it's time for a little payback. A little payback? I'm aiming for a lot of payback. Let's go!
I don't know why I ever called you Elite Toys, because you're not. You're loser toys. Because of you, I have lost my supply of ghost energy. Sponge Booby and those other do-gooder heroes are inside my factory. Mr. Huggles!
Front and center.
No, that position is reserved for me. Mr. Huggles, I want your Teddy Shock Troops in action in my factory. Now!
I would define your current situation as not good.
Could you be more specific about the not good part?
The Saucerman toys originate from a zone in this factory.
Yep.
You must stop Calamitous from using the aforesaid Saucermen to capture any more heroes.
I'm with you there.
Stopping the Saucermen will be even more difficult now.
It's gonna be worse than being babysat by Vicky.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have asked for specifics.
One moment, young man. You haven't forgotten our deal, have you?
Of course not. What was it again?
You were helping me add to my collection of action figures.
Me and my friends, we are so onto it, Chad boy.
Okay, so now that the mech section's out of the way, we gotta do some cleanup, because now I can play as Danny and Sam, so we can go back and get some of the master models we missed before. Which means a bit of extra platforming in zones 2 and 1. I think the backtracking in this game will probably bother some people, but you don't really gotta do it. You can get enough master models on the first time through, so you don't gotta backtrack. I just do it because I want to, you know? Because I want to get all the master models, because the platforming's fun. That's the best reason to backtrack in any game, is because you want to do it. So now we get to play as Sam, and Sam doesn't do anything special, neither does Danny, until you enter one of the extra areas with Danny, but yeah, none of the characters really have any special abilities. Remember hopping on cars? We're doing that still, but this time we got a double jump instead of single jump. I guess that's kinda unique in its own way, because normally you single jump. Now we're in the master model chamber for Cat Dog, and I remember very, very specific stuff about Cat Dog. Like, remember that episode where Cat was looking for a new butt? Or that episode about Cat's toy collection? Because I remember those episodes, for some reason. They're really weird. Cat Dog's really weird. Should probably just, put that on the back of the DVD case, just to write Cat Dog's really weird on the back and put quotations around it. Because nobody reads the back of those, because if they buy it, they already know what they're buying. And you get a chuckle out of a few people. But Nickelodeon, if you use that quote, it's my quote. You got to credit me for that. That's an observation no one's ever made about Cat Dog before, and I deserve the credit.
I'm going ghost!
So not that the story in the Nicktoons games were ever going to win any awards or anything like that, but it's an inconsistency here. All of Danny's powers are supposed to be neutralized by Calamitous, but for some reason he can go ghost. And he can't do that during the normal platforming section, it's just for these little mini-game bits. And it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know none of the Nicktoons games are going to win any awards for writing or anything, but Globs of Doom could have if it were managed a little better, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. Maybe it's just because I'm seeing a lot of potential where there wasn't intended to be any potential. But about this minigame section in particular, it's a shooting section. We hold down R2 to make Danny's gas. We hold R2 to make Danny move forward. And we steer Danny with the control stick. And we fire using square. And we try to find these purple cylinders, and after we blow up the purple cylinders, they open the way forward. And that's about it. Shooting the blocks with numbers gives us more time, but we're probably not going to run out of time anyway. There's the potential here for some risk-reward time management stuff like, oh no, I'm running out of time, should I stop to shoot the block and get more time, or will I waste more time than I'm getting back? You know, stuff like that, but that doesn't actually happen, because these sections are too easy for that. I think the only thing I haven't mentioned yet is that some of the blocks don't have numbers on them, and if you shoot those, then they fire back at you. I think that's the only thing about this minigame that I haven't brought up yet. It's real simple. It's not bad. It's got more going on than the mech sections do, and it's a cute diversion. But I much prefer the slide sections and tax sections, because the sponge slide sections are really cool and difficult, and the tax sections aren't necessarily super difficult, but they have their own unique design. And there's stuff to say about them, you know, there's creativity there. I don't have a bunch to say about these Danny sections. This and the top-down shooting sections with the mechs actually giving me some Blitz Games vibes. Blitz Games was a very good children's developer that did great with their music and presentation, and they made quite a few Nicktoons games, like they made 2 Fairly OddParents games, and they made some SpongeBob games. And the most defining trait in all of their game design is that they're not very good at exploring mechanics, but they're good at making up new mechanics. See, for the most part, Toybots is very, very different in that way. It's the best of the Nicktoons games because it explores its platforming mechanics very thoroughly. Its platforming mechanics are super basic, but that's fine because it does everything it can with them. But Blitz Games, they take almost the complete opposite approach. They introduce a bunch of mechanics, and as soon as you have one mechanic, they throw it away for a new one, and then throw that one away for another new one, and that one away for another new one, like every 10 minutes or so. And they're really good at that. They're good at coming up with new gimmicks to use. The issue is that sometimes they try to make games that are too long. Like, Creature from the Krusty Krab is really creative. Probably the most creative SpongeBob game in terms of visuals and music and general atmosphere. But the game design's not so good. And the game design in Creature from the Krusty Krab isn't bad because the game is bad or because it's poorly made. It's because the gimmicks outstay their welcome. And Blitz Games isn't super good at exploring game mechanics. Like, there's 3D racing segments and 2.5D platforming segments. And like a whole bunch of mini-games, there's a section where you play as Giant Plankton and destroy Bikini Bottom. And there's such a huge variety in locations, too. Like, there's this weird comic book world inhabited entirely by Patrick clones. And there's this weird garage where SpongeBob's trying to get his driver's license. And it's just a really creative game with a lot of variety in visuals and game mechanics. It's just the problem is the levels last way too long. So long. The gimmicks outstay their welcome. Like oh, this is a really cute game mechanic. Are they going to do more with it? But then they don't do more with it. And normally when they run out of stuff to do with a game mechanic, they switch. But in Creature from the Krusty Krab, they take too long to switch, so it ends up feeling really tiresome by the end. It feels a little too repetitious. If you want to see Blitz Games game design at its best, the Fairly OddParents games, that's what they're for. You get a new gimmick every 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes every 3 or 2 minutes. And then they switch it out for a new one really, really quickly. So it doesn't get boring. Is it more entertaining beyond a surface level? Not really. But it doesn't get boring. It has a lot of variety. And I think that's what they were going for, was putting variety before the general game design. And I mean, I don't think that's a great idea. Generally, I prefer when games explore their game mechanics. But the games are well made. They're very polished and well made, and they're fun. Even if there's not a lot to talk about in terms of game design. You know, they're cute games. They're enjoyable, and you know, I'd still play I'd still play Break Into Rules today. I don't know if I'd have very much to say about it, but I'd still play it. That's probably one of the games that's going to get remastered by THQ Nordic. So I guess that's good news. Because I want a new generation of kids to experience Break Into Rules. And, I mean, I really want them to experience Toybots too, but I don't think a lot of people really like Toybots because it was too hard for them. I think the original Nicktoons Unite's going to be remastered. Not the DS one, which is better, but the console one? I guess I'll finally have to bite the bullet and play the console version if it gets remastered. I mean, I've already played the console version before, but I might get some friends together and make them play it with me and do a Let's Play if it gets remastered. It's not good, but they tried. Blue Tongue tried really hard. The end result just didn't turn out so good. Blue Tongue is a weird developer because sometimes they're responsible for really amazing stuff like this and Da Blob and Da Blob 2. And then sometimes they make things like Nicktoons Unite or Marvel Superhero Squad, and you're kind of confused. But I think it probably depends on the restraints they were under at the time. Probably. Oh hey, it's LT Gray. I have things to say about LT Gray. LT Gray's great. Go watch LT Gray. I hope the LT Gray game gets remastered. You should go watch LT Gray right now. I like LT Gray. I think I got it all in there. I think I got everything I needed to say in there. Okay, anyway, that's all the backtracking for now, and I'll see you next video for Zone 3.